Good morning, Nichols Junior High. We are going to be working on some capitalization rules today. You are going to need the capitalization rule sheet that your teacher has passed out to you. It looks like this. You're also going to need your note page. Your teacher may have given you a blank page for notes, or they may have given you some notes to fill in. But whatever they gave you, please make sure to take down some of these notes because it will be important. First of all, let's talk about this rule sheet that you have. The majority of these rules are not new to you. The majority of these rules you have been working with since the beginning of school. Like the first word in the sentence is always capitalized. So notice you have a rule over here. They're numbered, there are 13. And then there are examples over here so that you can kind of see what it should look like in practice. So the first word in a sentence is always going to be capitalized. The pronoun I, including in contractions, is always going to be capitalized. So it says Joe and I are studying. If you ask nicely, I'd help you. I'd is a contraction for I would. This is one that kids often can get right on a multiple choice, but not when you're writing for yourself. So please always remember, if you have a lowercase I, it's never going to be by itself. The opening of a letter that you would write, the first word and the closing of a letter you would write. Proper nouns, names of specific people, places, and things, like Mexico, Sam Smith, Nichols Junior High, Popeyes. Those are all names of specific people, restaurants, country, school, things like that. In addition, rule number 6 are proper adjectives. These are words that come from proper nouns. Like if you're eating food from Mexico, Mexico is a proper noun, then you're eating Mexican food, meaning it is food from Mexico. It's identifying what kind. We always are going to capitalize languages, but we don't always capitalize school subjects. So, little tip, we're going to capitalize languages always, but school subjects only if they're followed by a number. Titles of books, titles when used with a person's name, like Coach Smith or Judge Wapner. Coach gets capitalized if I have a name attached. Judge gets capitalized if I have a name attached. The first word in direct quotation, we're going to talk more about this in just a few minutes. Family relations when they're used as a name. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute. Directional words only if they're used as regions, like the North. We're talking about a specific whole group of people. Or we live in the South. We're talking about a whole group of people and states. But if I just say go west on 4th Street, then we're not going to capitalize it. We also capitalize the names of days, months, and historical time periods. Here's the extra part. Do not capitalize seasons unless it's part of a title. So we're going to quickly take a break, answer a few questions. Be sure to use your rule sheet to answer those questions. Let's delve a little bit deeper into a few of the capitalization rules that trip us up sometimes. The first is relationship words, like do I capitalize mom or don't I capitalize mom? Because sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. It depends on the context it's being used in. So if the word is being used as a name, capitalize it. Because I don't know about you, I don't call my mom by her name. I would get a big slap in the back of the head probably. But I'm going to use it, I'm going to capitalize the word mom if I'm using it in place of her name. If it's not being used as a name, if it's just being used as like, I'm just showing you the connection I have to this person, then we're not going to capitalize it. So here's a very good trick. Write this down. Substitute a name for that relationship word, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. If your sentence still makes sense, capitalize it. So for example, if my sentence is when I asked mom for money, she told me to get a job, you have to ask yourself, am I using this as her name or am I using it as just a relationship? Let's use our hint. I'm going to substitute a name, any name. My mom's name is Wanda. Your mom's name might be something different, but I can use any name right here. If I read the sentence and it still makes sense, then we capitalize it because we capitalize names, right? So when I asked Sarah for money, she told me to get a job. Well, that makes sense. I can substitute a name. I should capitalize mom. However, what if it says when I asked my mom for money, she told me to get a job? Am I using it as a name? Let's use our trick. Substitute a name, Sarah, for mom. When I asked my Sarah for money, do we go around calling people my Sarah, my Joe, my Fred? No. I would not say my Sarah, so I'm not going to capitalize the word mom here. The other very easy trick to remember, look at that word my in front of mom right here. That's another clue that we're not using mom as a name. We're using it as a connection. This is my connection to this person, just in case people didn't know. So be on the lookout for words like my, your, our, his, her, their. If it's in front of that relationship word, like right here, then we're not going to actually capitalize the relationship word, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. So let's take a break, answer a couple of questions before we move on to quotations and dialogue. All right, when we talk about quotations and dialogue, what we're talking about is something that someone says. And when we're writing that down, we use quotation marks. So the first word in a line of dialogue is always going to be capitalized, the very first word in those quotation marks. So I walked into the room. Here's our quotation marks. There are those little double commas in the sky, right? That's what they look like. Notice hey is the first word inside the quotation. That means I'm going to capitalize it. The problem is sometimes people write down quotations that are divided or split. The writer will insert a he said in the middle of the quote. So the trick is to look after the word said. What's the trick? After the word said. And ask yourself, is there a comma after said, or is there a period? That's how you're going to know. If it says he said, comma, then you do not capitalize the next word in the quotation marks because it's not starting a new sentence. The comma after said is your clue. If you see a comma there after said, you don't capitalize it. That's when, remember, it's when it's happening in the middle of the quotation. So watch, hey Melvin, he said, comma. And then we have this quotation starting again. This is a continuation of hey Melvin. Hey Melvin, he said, your shoes are over on the table. Hey Melvin is the start of the sentence. Your shoes are over on the table is the end of the sentence. They're not two separate sentences. The problem, my dad responded, is that you are being rude. So the problem, comma, my dad responded. So responded is just another word for said. There's a comma after it, so we're not going to capitalize the second part of that quotation. It's just a continuation of the first sentence, the first part of the sentence. However, if it says he said, period, we are going to capitalize the next word of the quotation marks because period means new sentence starting, okay? The period after the word said or responded or replied, whatever word you want to choose for said, is your clue. If you have a period after that, then you're starting a new sentence. You got to start a new sentence with a capital letter. So let's see how it changes. Hey, Melvin, he said, period. Period means new sentence is about to start. We know we start new sentences with a capital letter. Now we capitalize your. Same sentence as before, but a different capitalization rule. The problem is you, my dad responded, period. You are being rude. New sentence, period equals new sentence. So we're gonna capitalize automatically that next sentence, that next piece of the quote. Last thing, common and proper nouns. These are things we've been working on capitalizing or not capitalizing probably since you started school, but there are some that are trickier than others. So remember, only specific names of people and places and things are capitalized. Like a specific person, Mark Jones. a specific restaurant on the border, a specific person, Mr. James, Walmart, a specific place, Globe Life Park, a specific place. Those are the names of the places. We're not going to capitalize the seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. The only time we're going to capitalize those is if they're part of a title, like he asked me to the spring fling dance. Spring fling is the title of the dance. Then I would capitalize spring. But most of the time, if we're just talking about the seasons, we're not capitalizing them. And we're not going to capitalize types of animals like dog, poodle, fish, catfish, snake, or rattlesnake. Those sound specific, but if you look in the dictionary, they're not. So if all else fails, look up those words that you're kind of unsure about in the dictionary because it will help you. If it's capitalized in the dictionary, it's probably capitalized everywhere. And then sometimes we do have proper adjectives if they're used with a common noun, like an English bulldog. English is capitalized. A is a proper adjective. It comes from England. It's also the name of a language. But just bulldog on its own, we're not going to capitalize. Or an Irish setter, it's from Ireland, then we're going to capitalize it because Ireland is a specific place, right? So as you practice, remember a few things. Refer back to your capitalization rule chart. Make sure you put it in your binder or your notebook, wherever your teacher asks you to keep your notes. Also, please remember, check the dictionary. If you're completely unsure, check the dictionary. If it's capitalized in the dictionary, it's probably always going to be capitalized. If it's not, then you're probably not going to capitalize it. Be on the lookout for words like a, an, or the in front of a word. Most often, you're not going to capitalize those words if a, an, or the, or my, your, his, her, those possessive pronouns are in front. If you have any questions, make sure to see your teacher. Have a great day.